the heck?
Welcome to another episode of
Parejeando. Episode 8.
I lost track of how many we have, but
Okay, but this song, what the hell?
oh, this is our mature song. We have a mature episode today. So I'm gonna be on my best behavior today.
Okay, so blast that shit then.
Welcome.
Oh my gosh, you're so embarrassing.
And you might ask why this fit too.
Yeah, what's up with the Hawaiian shirt?
It's my daddy fit. Like, I'm trying to act mature in front of Miss Kathy.
Zam,
I'm
zaddy.
this little kid over here.
Welcome back, Parejeando episode 8. We are so excited. We are here together. More than anything, you're probably wondering who this beautiful lady is. Her name is Miss Kathy. We love her so much, and I'm so excited that she's here. Are you excited?
Yes, absolutely.
We're so excited. Before she even gets to all the juicy information about herself, I'll tell you a little bit of how we met her. So she is like la chingona de chingonas for Parent Academy. We had the honor of meeting her through a parenting class, and we took this parenting class because we actually wanted to. It's not like we were forced to, or it's like, hey, you need to do this class. We actually did it out of the goodness of our heart. And wasn't it the best fucking experience?
No, absolutely. Me personally, I changed my ways of raising Valentina.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
In a matter of 6 weeks, how much like it altered our thinking.
Yeah,
it was crazy. So Miss Kathy, welcome to our
no
podcast.
further ado, Miss Kathy.
Well, all right,
Take it away.
guys. I'm so happy to be here. You know, one of the things about Parents Academy is about building community. And I think that's what I was looking for. I was a single mom. Most of the time I was raising my kids. And, you know, there are times you just want to sell your children. You know, there's a pulga, vámonos, you know?
Yeah.
There are times when you're just like, what am I doing? Why isn't this working? Why don't they listen to me?
Yes.
You know, and it's just like sometimes just desperation, other times elation. You know, on Mother's Day, we got that combo package of all the great things about being a mom and all the things that are also muy pesados.
Yes.
You know? So I think we started Parents Academy really from the standpoint of building community and giving people a place to talk and giving people a place to be heard.
Yes. And that's something I noticed with your class. There was obviously more women than men in the class, but all these women always had a story to tell. Like, they were so desperate for someone to hear them, and you gave them a voice there, and it was awesome.
Well, I think if children are going to be seen, heard, and valued, that has to happen for their parents. And a lot of us, the way we were raised, some of those recipes, they need to go.
Yeah.
You know, there are times when there are things that the way we were raised, it was like, that's awesome, I want to continue that. And other times we're like, not so much.
Yeah.
You know, la vida de la chankla, and just, you know, go get the belt. And, you know, some of the tools that our parents use, I mean, if I tell people all the time, if you haven't noticed, some of those tools are now illegal.
But
That's true.
But the chancla works so well, though. I mean, in my case, shout out to my mom. It whooped my ass, and I don't know if that built me who I am now. I don't know, but it worked. You know, I was just like, don't get in trouble, don't do bad things, because you about to get an ass whooping.
So you think by your mom beating you or hitting, or excuse me, I think we should be very selective with our words, because Miss Kathy, if we talk about like our
I
past,
know that's true. We're not gonna get like
our parents are not going to go to jail, right? If we talk about our past.
No,
Yeah.
I think maybe the statute of limitations has passed.
Oh,
on that.
okay. We
know,
good there. Let's talk about it.
I'm always saying our parents did the best they could with the information and resources they had. And
Yeah.
some things that were culturally appropriate at one time, now not so much. I mean, the reality is we can say, I came out great because of this, and sometimes I came out great in spite of this. Now, did you learn responsibility and consequences? Yes. You did learn responsibility and consequences, but there are new ways and other ways that you can learn responsibility and consequences that don't include hitting your child.
Yeah. So do you think, for example, like Randy right now, he said like, oh yeah, well, my mom hit me with the chancla or whatever, that made me to who I am. Do you really think by hitting your child, disciplining by hitting, that makes them who they are?
I don't think the chancla has power. I think it's the relationship.
Best
between
believe me,
the
it had power, because I got up quick.
You got bruises. That's the power.
There's a lot of power. That was a big chancla. I'm kind of scared of that chancla myself. But, you know, when we look at, so what I tell parents is that sometimes they'll say things like, well, I'm doing this because I love you. I'm hitting you because I love you. And like, to me, that is the domestic violence starter kit. Because it is saying that, you know, I love you, so I'm allowed to hit you, I'm allowed to hurt you. And we think of our own children, of our own sons and our own daughters. Would we want them being in a relationship as an adult where someone else is allowed to hit them in the name of love? So I think that gets planted very early. If the thing is, I'm hitting you because I love you, because you need to learn. Learning has to happen from inside. It doesn't happen from outside.
That's so true. And it goes back to like a podcast that we did when I was saying like men, they like, you are going to be your daughter's first love.
You and your man.
No, this is a good thing. When I say like, okay, for example, like the father and the daughter relationship, like men, like you are going to be your daughter's first love, like the man figure. So if right away being a dad, you're talking shit to your daughter, like, oh, pinche mensa or whatever, she's going to be raised her whole life thinking like, you know what, my dad that loved me so much treated me like this, or I saw my dad beat my mom, so it's okay for me to get talked like this and get beaten. And it's so true what you're just saying, right?
Yeah, because if we're really defining love as connection, then if the connection is based on fear, I see what happens at the other end of it is sometimes a parent doesn't want that for their child, and so they have no guidelines, they have no boundaries. There's, the child becomes, just completely out of control, because a parent is like, well, I don't want to hit him, I don't want to beat him, but I don't know what else to do.
So what do you do then? For example, if there's a parent that, let's say, growing up, my parents used to beat me until I was purple, but I don't want to do that with my kids, but I don't know any better. So what do? I just let them run free? Or
no, sometimes what it goes from one end to the other. Like you got the hammer parent, like the pow pow right now. You want a pow pow? And my child is like, yes, please. What in today's world, we're like, you want to go to timeout? The reality is we're not building a relationship that way. We're building fear. We're saying that I love you, but I'm going to cause you pain. So I look at, how do we go from an overload of harsh physical pain and fear to building respect and love and cooperation? What happens is some people go to the far end and they're like a marshmallow. And then what they'll know is that like, well, they'll say no, but the kid knows they don't mean no. So the child knows with the marshmallow, you can just squish it real easy. You can just make it melt real easy.
Randy's
looking the other way. Well, because you love Valentina. She's the star of the world.
Oh, yeah,
she's the light of your life, right?
Yeah.
So you are a marshmallow.
So what makes it hard, Randy, to hold the line with her?
Yeah, what makes it hard?
Well, perfect example. A few nights ago, she was crying. Obviously, every night it's a hassle to put her to bed, and she'll start crying. And by the way, she still sleeps in our bedroom, but on her crib. But that night, okay, time to go to bed. I was like, Valentina, we do this every night. It's time to go to bed. Okay. Well, she started crying. And what got me was just like, she was like, papi, papi, but like really soft, So for me, my process of thinking was, man, there's going to be one day when Valentina is not going to need me anymore, when she's going to be independent. And that day, I'm going to regret that specific night where I didn't go to her and just like cuddle with her or nurture her. That all she wanted, I went up to her and I hugged her and she fell asleep. That's all she wanted, but and then I got up and then Myra's like, "Hey, leave her alone. Why are you gonna go?"
No, okay. So explain your side and then I'm gonna explain my side and then you can give us obviously your professional.
Right. So yeah. So that was my way of thinking. Like one day she's not gonna need me and I'm gonna look back and regret it and just ask myself like, why didn't I go that night? Why didn't I just cuddle with her and just make her feel safe and let her fall asleep?
So then my train of thought is, okay, I know Valentina, every time she wants something her way, she knows that with Randy, she can cry and pout and he's going to be like, oh my God, I need to go.
And not necessarily.
Okay. So 90% of the time, out of 10 times, how many times do you do it? 8. It's majority of the time. When she cries, you want to nurture her. And I'm telling him it's okay for him to do that. But at the same time, she's manipulating him by saying like, I know if I cry, my dad will come every time. And it's like, Valentina, you have to learn how to put yourself to sleep because he's not going to be there all the time to put you to sleep. She has to understand we have her playtime. We are there with her playing from 7 to 8, even sometimes 8:30. And it's like, okay, it's time to go to bed, but she wants more and more. And then she puts up a fight every time. So that's where I'm just like, just let her cry. She's going to go to bed. It's not killing her. You're not scarring her. And then that's why he's like, oh, you're so mean. I'm like, I'm not being mean. Like we love her and she knows we love her, but it's just What do you think?
Well, and the reality is that they want to be with you, and y'all are the stars of her life. So she wants to be with you all the time. So the resistance of going to bedtime is my dad is terrific and my mom is terrific, and I have this secure attachment. So the secure attachment does develop because of all those connections you've made. A lot of times people say they're crying for no reason. It's for no reason. Well, you know what? They have a reason. You just don't agree that it's a good reason. You know, and to comfort them, you know, look at ways that you can comfort them and connect with them without them seeing, well, mom won't let me, but dad will. Because they do start working both sides. You know, understanding, nurturing happens even when you say, you know, good night, I'm going to blow you a kiss and catch it. And we're all going to sleep now. You know, you can you can still do nurturing, you know, and look at if it starts causing tension between the parents and it's like, well, you're too easy and you're too hard and you're too hard, you're too easy. The child gets lost in the middle of that. So looking at how you can agree on things and that nurturing, that is important. And sometimes we think nurturing means giving in and babying them. And nurturing is you made them a sandwich, you cut it the way they like the sandwich cut. You know, nurturing means you say goodnight, you say, blow me a kiss, catch it, there it comes, you know, whatever it is. If you're like, well, this time if you think to yourself today, I'm not going to get out of bed, but I'm going to blow a kiss and catch it. You know, just think of small things that are still keeping that relationship. Because I think the fear is, you know, someday she won't need me. And the reality is, they do grow up.
Yeah, they grow
But
up.
all the planting and all the nurturing and all the playtime, I think one of the most valuable things that you're doing is the playtime with her, on her level, with her toys in her room.
Yes.
That she has that opportunity to grow and develop. You know, and that's when that relationship happens. Not because you kept them happy all the time. It's not our job for them to be happy all the time. And some of the times we have to say, I know you want to play longer. The time is up and we're going to go take the bath or go to bed or whatever.
So first question, or let's get an answer to that. So what do you recommend? I feel like maybe we're not the only parents that are going through this sometimes, where it's like, regardless if Valentina still sleeps in her room in her crib, or parents that have their children in obviously their own rooms, but they're always crying for that attention. Like, don't, like, stay here. I'm crying. I want you to be here. Yes or no? Do you give into that? What do you do?
You will go back and back and back all night. You know, so one of the things is you've got your bedtime routine. You have your, you know, you set up what you're going to do. We're going to play from this time to this time. And then, well, it's going to be bath time. Come and pick your favorite pajamas or whatever it is, that they know what to expect every night. And if you always do 2 stories, always do those 2 stories. If you always say a certain bedtime prayer, say that certain bedtime prayer. Keep that routine. If she's acting up and you're like, no stories tonight. Well, that just said no Randy tonight, no Myra tonight. Like, they need that connection. Like, we don't ever want them to feel isolated or banished, but just like, well, when I go to sleep, I'm going to be closing my eyes. I'm going to say a little prayer for you. You say a little prayer for me. And then you can have that connection where she can build a little distance, maybe on the bed in your room, because later she's going to be over here in her room.
So speaking of that, are we making it even harder for her like right now? Because she sleeps in her room, right? And I'm not going to lie, like on weekends, she'll sleep on our bed, and we do let her, and we tell her, el viernes o el sábado te vas a dormir con nosotros, right? But is that a good or bad thing in a parenting point of view to let your kids sleep with you in your room?
One of the things that you want to do is start having her have some independence. You know, so one of the things will be for safety as well. I mean, she's already a little bit older, but you've got a baby coming. Yeah. And you don't want her to feel like at the very minute that you showed up with this new bundle, you're banished. You know, like, well, we're going to start looking at how you're going to sleep in your big girl bed. And maybe you have a camp out one night in her room. You put in a small pop-up tent and you all just camp in the room. Yeah. Whoever wants to go to the camp out, you go to the camp out, you roast some marshmallows outside, you have a camp out, and everyone stays in her room one night. It could just be a fun, you know, experience so that she's starting to build her own place there. And not like, here's a baby, ni modo, you're out.
And you know what, Miss Kathy? And when Valentina was born, up to what, like maybe...
Oh, I already know what you're going to say.
She, maybe like a year, 6 months, like she...
6 months, at 6 months.
Well, yeah, at 6 months, we transitioned her to her bedroom, right? And like from that time on, like, she was doing good, you know? And that's another stigma in the Mexican culture where it's like, ay, cómo vas a dejar a tu hijo sola allá, you know. But I feel like, yeah, you're right. That it creates independency, you know, towards a child where they're just more independent, you know, versus you're always sleeping in the bedroom till you're freaking 13, 14.
Yeah.
But see, that's the stigmatism with Mexicans. Like, oh, ¿cómo vas a dejar a tu niño solo? So, long story short, we kept Valentina in her room, and she was doing great.
No, let's make it juicy, because I feel like if we give into the details, a lot of our people listening, they're going to be able to be like, that's exactly what my mom.
Well, that's what I'm
said.
saying. That's what I'm getting to. Maybe I'm taking forever, but
Yeah, he kind of is.
But what I'm saying is that one day I don't know if it was my mom or my suegros came.
It was
visit.
both parents.
Well, yeah, both. Yeah, they came visit and they're like, well, ¿cómo van a dejar a la niña ya sola? Ay, yo a ustedes no los dejé dormir solos. But deep down inside, I was like, well, shit, man, I wanted my privacy,
Yeah.
But we couldn't. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. So.
Yeah, like my mom was like, ¿cómo vas a...? Ay, tú allá recién casada y acá como recién casada y tu niña allá solita en tu cuarto. And then my suegros were like, un día te la van a robar. Like, that's not right. And obviously we felt, they gave us a guilt trip.
Right.
So now, like, I mean, I might be like the mean nuera, or the mean daughter, but I told my parents and I told my in-laws, like, I'm sorry, but because of you guys, like, and it's the truth, you guys made us feel so guilty. We put Valentina in our bedroom and now she's like super clingy, which is, like, it's not a bad thing, but you're right. You're not making your children, I feel like you're disabling them just a little bit by doing that. So what do you think about that? Like when the Mexican parents are like, your kids should sleep with you because someone's going to come in at night and steal them.
I bet you have locks on all the doors.
We even have a security system.
You have a security system. And one of the realities is you want her to start building some independence. And so like even with your routines at night, maybe you have the book, you read books to her, have her read a book to you. I love to just give a kid a book they know and let them tell you what's happening on the pages. Well, you read a story, I read a story. You say a prayer, I say a prayer. I don't feel like we're doing anything to put our children in harm's way because they're not sleeping one arm away.
Yeah. I agree.
And it's going to be hard because how are you going to fit everybody in there? You're going to start putting some bunk beds in your room.
And that's something we even talked about. And I told Randy, I'm like, we really have to start slowly transitioning Valentina. Like we started making her room a little bit more comfortable. Like we even upgraded her bed because she's getting too big for the crib. Mm-hmm. But I told them, once the baby comes, imagine Valentina is still in the room with us. And then the baby is in the bassinet. Right. So imagine the baby starts crying, wakes up Valentina wakes up crying, the baby, I'm like, if right now I'm sane, I am going to lose my sanity when the second baby comes because I mean, honestly, who's the one who's going to get up and feed? Like it's usually the mom.
Oh,
Miss Kathy, it's always the mom doing a little bit more. So I'm like, we got to slowly do it now. So when the baby comes, Valentina's not like,
I've been evicted. Right. They got this other baby. And they love somebody else. They love somebody else besides me. And how she can be involved with helping with the baby and being engaged with the baby. But, if it's like, well, peace out, you're over here, pues, pa allá, no hay lugar.
Yeah.
You don't want her emotionally to feel that she's being replaced.
Right.
And so one of the things will be to start working on that now. You have several months left. And then, of course, when you're traveling, you're all in one room again. So like that's going to be one of the issues, like the back and forth of it.
Yeah. Something I really wanted to ask you about, it was about like the disciplining or about how you were saying like, oh, like Randy might be the marshmallow and I'm the authoritarian person. How can parents find that happy medium where it's not like, you know what, well, my mom's the main one because dad will always be like, okay, or not saying just in general, right? Like how can parents find that happy medium?
Well, I think what we look for is coming up with techniques, how you can set boundaries in a way that are respectful. So it's not based on fear. Sometimes what we set up when we get on the marshmallow and we're like, well, we're not going to tell mom. Don't tell mom. Or we start hiding things from the partner. Like I had somebody that was in one of my programs and they were sharing that their son had gotten a truancy notice from school and she hid it from her husband because she knew he would blow up. And so she went to court and did all the stuff. When her husband found out later, it broke trust really bad in the relationship. And, her husband was so somebody, what else are you not telling me?
Yeah.
So if we get we put children in a role where they're not, like we both want to be the parents and the leaders. And there's two parents in the home. Both of them need to be leaders. It can't be like you're the good cop, you're the bad cop. Or this is the law and order and I'm the fun parent. I'm the Disneyland parent. I'm the have a good time parent.
Yeah.
So the happy medium is looking at being authoritative, that you have authority and you get respect. But it's not like I demand respect. And you're not coming from the threatening mode, or the begging mode. Because what happens eventually with marshmallows have to beg their children to do things. And when they need something done, they have to beg them because they've not developed an authority and a responsibility. So I know you're really sad and you don't want to stop playing now, but it is time to stop playing. Do I need to help you?
Yeah.
Do I need to help you get up from there? Do I need to help you? So no, I'll do it. Part of it has to be that if we can set up, the authoritative comes from having clear boundaries and sticking to them. Because if we say no more cookies, and then we're like, well, just one more.
Yeah.
They just wrote in their diary, this is how you get more cookies. You go, papi, quiero galletas. No he comido galletas en 100 años. Like my little niece, she told my brother, my life is ruined. Like she didn't get something. I'm really, really sad. This is the worst thing that ever happened to me. And, for her little lifeline, she was 3 years old. Yeah. It was the worst thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
She lost a certain toy. It was the worst thing ever. And that the nurturing comes from being with them when they're a hot mess.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times too where it's like, ya, cállate, ya deja de llorar, get over it. It's not a big deal. Why are you crying? Is that even good too? Because I hear that all the time too. Like a lot of parents are just, ya, se te va a pasar, levántate, no llores. But you're really suppressing your children from all these feelings. So
we want to build emotional intelligence in our children. And what I mean by emotional intelligence is they are able to express and release any emotion. Because think about the last time you were angry and someone said, well, that ain't nothing to be mad about. You got double mad, right?
Yes.
You got double mad. And if you're sad and you're crying something, ay, ¿por qué llores? Muy chillona. The reality is you have sentiments and feelings. And if we're teaching children, life is hard, suck it up, keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear it. You're telling them you don't have a refuge in me. And if I'm going to build children who have a solid foundation, they have to know somebody loves me just the way I am. Somebody accepts me when I'm a hot mess. If I'm huffing and puffing and blowing the house down, they're not just like, go to your room and when you feel human, come back. They need us. It's like we would not put our child outside in a thunderstorm and lock the door.
Yeah.
It's raining, it's thundering, it's lightning. Well, when they're having an emotional upset, that's an internal thunderstorm. If they're having a tantrum, that's an internal thunderstorm that they cannot control. They need us to protect them and be with them. And that doesn't mean they're having a fit at Walmart, so you buy them the candy. I know you really love candy and candy's delicious, and we're not buying candy today.
Yeah.
We're not going to buy candy today. I know candy's delicious, and we're not buying candy today, and we will have candy another day.
It's funny you say that because we have this tradition with Valentina. Once a week, we'll get her una sorpresa, and it can be like a candy. It can be anything, right? Something so minimal. But she'll come home pretty much every day and be like, ¿hay sorpresa hoy? But she already expects that. And we'll tell like, Valentina, no todos los días va a haber sorpresa, pero mami, papi, te queremos mucho. Because I feel like that's how she's really like, oh my God, every day there's going to be a surprise for me. And it's like, baby girl, like life's not going to give you good surprises every day, So, I mean, are we doing okay with that too? Or do you think like...
Well, we'll say we're having a special treat. And, the special treat could be that you cut up mangoes, I mean, it doesn't have to always be something.
Material.
What happened? Yeah, because a lot of times we set up, well, you were good, so I bought you this.
Right.
You were good, so I gave you this. And if we set up food as a reward or a punishment, well, you didn't behave, so no cupcakes for you. Well, that just teaches us the cupcake is the desired thing, not our love and attention.
Yeah. Speaking of like suppressing your feelings, for you growing up, did you ever feel like you were taught like eres hombre, no debes de llorar? Or
oh yeah, all the time.
So what's something that you heard obviously growing up, or if you were feeling some certain type of way,
Pues ya, deja de estar chingando, pinche chillón. Y ya, vete para allá.
And do you think that type of parenting, right? I mean, like obviously in the
course
Hispanic, like machismo, like los hombres no deben llorar, or you have to mask all your feelings. I mean, why?
Well, I think that's why we have such high rates of people with anger problems, alcoholism, substance abuse, a lot of the things that when we're not allowed to have and express feelings, we have to find some way to mask it or keep it down. Keep it down. And so you'll see where sadness, like in a man, very often sadness only comes out as anger. But as a woman, if you're angry or you're standing up for yourself, well, she's a bitch.
That's so true.
Instead of being assertive, men are allowed to be assertive. Women are called aggressive when they're just being assertive. Bam. And then if a man is sharing some feelings, pues, mira.
Pinche vatío.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
reality is,
It's true.
if we're going to build children who are emotionally competent, they have to practice all the emotions. And guess where they're going to practice them? On us.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, don't be mad. Don't be mad at your dad. I love you. You can't be mad at me. Yes, they can. They can be real, real mad because you didn't wash their favorite socks. They can be real, real mad because you said we're leaving the park now. And it's okay to be angry. I'm still loving you right here.
That's true.
You're angry over there. I'm still loving you right here. Do you want to sit by? No, I don't want to sit by you. I don't want to talk to you, Daddy. You know, those are the times when we just have to say, I'll be here when you come back.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to ask you, like, that's when you give them their space, right? Kind of like, okay.
So you're going to go sit there and bug them?
I mean, I do it sometimes with Valentina. I tease her all the time, you know, and
You push your button.
yeah, I do. And maybe this past weekend we're outside and she wanted these like little water guns. Okay, but she wanted to wet me, but I couldn't wet her, right? So I was like, no, obviously that's not fair. Yeah. So I started like splashing the water, and she got all pissed, like, stop, like, no. And she started crying. And I was like, you know, like messing around with her. But yeah, maybe.
What did that translate to?
Exactly. Maybe that wasn't the best option. You know, I could have been like, okay, Mija, like, no, you can't wet. You don't want to be wet, I won't wet you.
So what does that?
And you could say, well, it sounds like you're not having fun with this anymore. You know, I guess the fun turned off in this activity, and you could stop. You know, but a lot of the complaints are that we're coddling our children. They're like, well, ay, los tienes muy mimados, right? Like people will say that you give them everything they want. You give in to them all the time. The reality is, if you're supporting them when they're having a hard time, you're building that emotional competence they're going to need in the workplace. They're going to need in life. They're going to need in future relationships. If they can't speak up to us, how are they going to speak up to a partner?
That's so true. That is so true. Okay, so that every time you say something, I think of something else. So I'm a high believer that whatever happens in our childhood, it molds us as adults, right? So, you know, a lot of times you hear a lot of these women that can't stick up for themselves. So do you think that's because a lot of it has to do because they didn't have a voice, or their parents didn't hear them growing up, you know? Or is it more
you weren't allowed to speak. Like yesterday in our program, we're doing a collaboration with Jewish Family Service, and we're actually having an anger management and mindfulness class as part of our parenting class. Mm-hmm. And people were saying how they expressed anger and what they did. And I said, I realized, I didn't express anger because mostly what I heard was, suck it up, keep it to yourself. That ain't a real problem. Get a real problem, call me back. My parents didn't say that specifically, but that's the message I got.
Yeah.
So I did not speak up. And I realized instead of expressing anger, I would just hold it in, and it pushed out the side in anxiety and depression. When we feel seen, heard, and valued, we can heal and we can grow. And we are not stuck in the childhood that we had. We work with a lot of families and a lot of individuals who have gone through really rough times that have chosen a new path. But until you see the light, you can't move in another direction.
And I'm so happy you tap into that, because I've had a lot of girls, my girls DM me and they're like, well, I was raised a certain way. How do you change that? And what I've responded, you're the educator, right? I always say, well, you have a choice. If there's something growing up that you didn't like that your parents did, you have a choice to raise your kids like that. If you didn't like it, you're going to choose not to apply that and implement that, right, in your child's life. And there's always a good thing that we learn from our parents, and there's always things that now we look back and it's like, okay, was that really necessary? And it's up to you. It's not necessarily like, this is the way I was raised, so you're going to get raised the way I was raised, right?
Yeah, and the reality is we get to choose. Growing up, my family was not affectionate. They did not express love. I don't remember hearing as a child, I love you, Kathy. I don't remember that at all.
That's so true. I'm glad you brought that subject up, because do you think that's more of a generation thing where our parents didn't share that with us, or they didn't?
I think it was their communication style, and I'm not saying they didn't love me. If I would have said, "Do you love me?" They'd be like, "You got food, don't you? You got a place to live, don't you?
Exactly.
You're not out on the street, are you?" But they did not get nurtured in that way, so they didn't know how to nurture me. But that did not stop me from learning. That did not stop me from growing. Like with my kids, I tell them all the time, "I love you." I tell them till they're bored. I'll holler out the window, "Te quiero, mijo." Whatever it is, we can get new things. We can learn new things. Genetically, we come out of the parents that we have. Emotionally, that's up to us. At some point, we got to put on our big girl, big boy pants and grow up from our childhood and say, where am I going with my children? What is my legacy to my children? Right. And is it that I was loving and caring and respectful and I challenged them? and I stood by them when they were a mess, and I helped them move forward. And that's the legacy that I want to live. I want to build children who are emotionally competent and confident.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. So my mom, she told me that her parents never told her she knew they loved her, but they never vocalized that, right? And same with my dad. But my mom, she every day she will say I love you to us. And my mom was more the one that told my dad like, viejo, tienes, diles que los quieres. And now I really feel like my dad started being like this when I was like 10, but he does give kisses to my brothers on their forehead, my brothers to my dad on the forehead. And every day when my dad, okay, te quiero chata, yo también lo quiero mucho. But it's something that they didn't see. And that's what I'm saying. Like they chose not to raise us like that. They weren't raised saying, I love you. But now for me, it's so normal. And it's funny because you even say that too, right? Like with Valentina.
Yeah, no, I share affection all the time. I tell her every day, I love you. And what's cool about it is that now we'll be, in the bed or wherever on the couch, and she'll come up to me or Myra and she'll be like, I love you. I love you too, So that's pretty cool. But yeah, no, like growing up, well, obviously, even till this day, it's kind of funny. When I moved out, when I got married, that's when I moved out. It's a little awkward, not awkward, but when my mom is cool. Like I'll go up to her like, oh mom, and give her a kiss on the cheek. And with my dad, we kind of like handshake like buddies, but it's kind of like, dude. Like, do I hug them or like? Yeah. Have you ever seen Step Brothers?
Yes.
That scene where
it's like such an awkward hug.
Yeah, their brothers are kind of like I don't know, awkward. They're not sure to hug. That's me and my dad. But no, I read this quote, and before I had read this quote, like this something just naturally that came out. Well, that I always told myself to do with Valentina is that. To not give her the quote said it's not about to give whatever you didn't have growing up, it's more to teach them what you weren't taught, right? Mm-hmm. So for me it was like that's exactly what I want to do. Like I don't want to I want to tell Valentina I love her, I love you, mija, every day, and I want her to learn that from me or from her mom that it's okay to vocalize your feelings, like don't bottle them up. And yes, and obviously when they say I'm gonna give my son or daughter everything I didn't have, like material wears out, so it's like there's no point of you giving them everything you didn't have. I think it's more value is teaching them what they didn't teach you, so that's my motto. And yeah, and it's so true. And I've seen we've heard stories, we've seen it actually. Remember that that one guy that said for Christmas he bought his daughter a $2,000 purse. And mind you, 9. Her daughter is only like how old? 9?
Yeah, 10? And it was funny because we cannot say names,
right? Obviously
all, but
not.
Someone very close to us. We were invited by someone super close to us, and it was a pizza party. Long story short, and this person that's really close to us, when he was like, I bought my daughter a $2,000 purse, and he was like, what did you buy her? Like laptop? And he was like. Or he said, I bought her a $2,000 gift, right? Yeah. And he was like, where did you buy her, a laptop? And he's like, no, I bought her a Louis Vuitton purse.
I was like,
and like all of us right away were like, I mean, who are we to judge, right? But personally, it's like, what the fuck? Like, what are you teaching your 9-year-old child? Is she really going to value
9 years old, mind you.
But I think that he, from his perspective, that's love. And maybe he didn't get the things he wanted.
Exactly.
And so like, there's a pride as a parent as I can provide for my kids, and there were times like, I was a single mom, and there was one Christmas when I had $10 and I went to the dollar store, and my kids each got 5 presents, and they were excited to open those 5 presents, and I didn't place life sucks. We're going to have a terrible Christmas. I mean, there were rough times that we went through, but I believe my children learned from those rough times. And I was honest and open with them. It's like, we're doing the best we can. And when I look at, I'm not going to judge someone because they bought an expensive present, but I bet that child would more enjoy time with them.
Right.
What memories we can create. And it doesn't always have to be that we went to Disney every year or whatever. The memories we create is We did the camp out. We put
Yeah.
blankets over the table and we read stories under the table. Or, we went and dug up worms together. Like, I'm a country girl and I see Valentina also, going that way.
Yes.
I'll catch anything. I will pick up anything. My kids are like, Mom, you were like Tom Sawyer or something. I'm like, hey, like I'm into it. I always say that my first job was selling crawdads to the bait shop. I was a tomboy. My brothers and I, we went and we caught crawdads and we sold them for 50 cents a dozen and then we bought candy.
That's so awesome.
That was our gig, So I look at that and I think that's the quality time that's important.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we don't know what to do. And people, when we look in our materialistic society, it's what you have, it's what you drive, it's what you carry. It's, I did this for Mijo. The pride should be, I sat at all their games, or I went and I practiced cheerleading with them, or whatever the thing your kid is into, connect with that.
Yeah. And, I really believe, your upbringing and what you saw. Cause I think as children, we see everything and then you parrot whatever your parents did. Right. And for me, I freaking love my mom 100%. And when you say this, like growing up, my mom, she didn't own a pair of shoes until she was 9. So now, like, even she's told us, like, sometimes I regret growing up. Like when you kids were growing up, I only bought you 2 pairs of shoes, one for school and one for the weekend. She's like, but there was no need for you to have 2 pairs of shoes, and then, she always worked from 2 a.m. till 12 o'clock, but she was always there every soccer game. She was always there doing homework with us. She was always there back to school nights. And she's so detallista. And I always tell Randy this, that every Valentine's or on my birthday, she would always pick a flower from outside and leave it in my restroom and little things like that. And she was never into materialistic stuff. And maybe that's why I'm like that too, because I'm being honest, Miss Kathy. Maybe one day I will want to buy a Gucci or a real Louis Vuitton, but for me it doesn't validate me as a woman, because I don't give a shit about that stuff. I would rather spend $2,000 on an awesome vacation with my family than on a fucking purse, because I don't give a shit about that. And with Valentina, that's something I want to instill in her, like materialistic shit it's not anything, and I want her to learn like the little things that matter the most. I just feel like that's more valuable to her. Right. Like,
and if we can ask our child what's important to you, and they're making a judgment about what's important to us by how we live our lives. So if they see that family is important to you, then they learn that family is important. If they see that work is the number one thing, then it's like work has value and home has less. We're trying to build a solid foundation for them where they feel seen, valued, heard, connected, that they can build that for someone else. I think my biggest gift is seeing my children grown up and giving their gifts to the world, and being creative and following their dreams and doing things that they want to do. And they've seen me sacrifice and they've seen me go through things, and they've always been supportive of whatever my mission is. And my mission is to help families, because I know how hard it is. Whether you're in a couple or you're single, whatever. Parenting is the hardest job in the universe. 24/7, you've infinity and beyond, you're never done being a parent, and the impacts that what you do. So you're thinking of that one night of the bedtime. Yeah. That's part of the whole foundation. Like if you look at Valentina at age 3, she's got a ton of things in her foundation. And when your new baby comes, your baby's not going to cognitively remember the love, the care, the time, and the fact that you picked them up when they were crying and you nurtured them. People start out with it's like, oh, let them cry. Their lungs need to develop. The reality is, if their lungs were not developed, they'd be in NICU. They need that connection, and that their first year of life, their whole responsibility and their whole developmental task is to learn trust. That when I cry, somebody cares. That somebody cares, that someone's here for me. And over time, yes, we can get a little distance and we can give them more independence. But, a lot of times people don't have an understanding. Newborns, inside your body, they're basically a parasite, right? Yeah. They're just using up all of your resources, resources. And during pregnancy and when they're born, they're using up 2 people's resources. And so part of, being there for them is giving them that foundation where they learn trust, and they learn that when I cry, somebody listens. Mm-hmm. The hardest thing is when we know that nobody cares. When you see people that have their life completely broken down, it's because they don't have connection. And to me, that's what we're trying to do. And at Parents Academy, we're trying to help families see you're not alone. You're not the only one. And when people can share a little bit of their story, they come out with some hope and some help.
And that's something you really made me put a lot of things in perspective, and I'll give you a perfect example. And we really, that one day on the way home when it was about disciplining, remember we were just like going back and forth, and it was so fucking awesome. Like these hard conversations we had because of you and what you know what I like, that you pick our brains and it makes us think. It's not just like the sky's blue. Okay. That's it. We go home with that. And it was about disciplining. And I'm not going to lie. And one day there's been one time I disciplined Valentina bad, and it's because she threw the worst tantrum because she didn't want to leave school. And she cried and was screaming, and I got really upset, and I disciplined her. But then what really stuck to me was when you said, what's the message you're sending? And B, do you want your child to fear you or to respect you? And something we went back and forth was like, and it was the same for both of us growing up. Our moms were the discipliners. They disciplined us. And our dads never hit us. My dad he hit me. He tapped me once in the butt. But when he did that, I cried because I was like, oh my God, my dad. But it didn't hurt. It was more of a disappointment. But every time I did something wrong and he would grab my attention, and your dad with yours, it was like, damn, like I fucked up. And it was more, and we talk about, it's not like our moms molded us to who we are now. It's that we feared our moms and we respected our dads, and we didn't want to let our dads down, and we were just scared to get beat. Yeah. Right. So it's like, is that really, that's the message that we give our kids too.
Yeah. Cause it wasn't necessarily like, if you knew you messed up, like you were scared to go home or to your teacher call home, cause you knew you were going to get the ass whooping, you know. But when your dad found out that you messed up, it's kind of like, damn, like I let him down, you know.
So it's more like the fear of disappointment,
yes,
physical pain.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was more disappointment. Like, damn, I let my dad down. Like,
see, and the disappointment factor lasts longer than the spanking.
Oh yeah,
correct.
The reality, like for some kids, a spanking is like a shower. You got to take a new one tomorrow.
Yeah, after like when I was like 10 or 11, my mom kicked my ass and was like, it didn't hurt.
Catch me, right? She said you would run away.
It didn't hurt. And you just like run away.
Yeah, and I remember one time when I was younger, I was 20. I think I got my nose, 20 or 21, I got my nose pierced. And we just talked about this when they were here this past weekend. And I said, I came home from school and my mom was like, esta cabrona. And she got pissed and she told my dad, like, viejo, si no le dices algo esta vez me voy a enojar contigo. So my dad was really upset too. My mom would usually like hit me if I would do something bad, even if I was 20 years old. You know, she'll whip my ass now, you know, when I'm freaking a grown ass woman. But the fact that my dad came up to me and this is exactly what he said. And it's more, I think, the dialogue that men or any mom or dad can have with the child that's so important. You know, he told me, mija, a mí no me gusta que te pusiste ese arete, no se ve bien. Nomás te estoy diciendo que a mí no me gusta lo que hiciste. And when he said that, I was like, fuck, you know? And in front of him, I got my nose ring and I put it on his hand. And that was it. But it was more like the disappointment. Because if he would have just been like, I'm going to take off my belt and hit you, I would have been like, okay, I'm not taking off my freaking ring. I don't give a shit. You know, so it's so true. It's
more like a challenging you, right?
Yeah. And that's true. And I told Randy, you know, I don't want Valentina to fear me, because then she's going to have that fear of to have an open communication, be like, I don't want to go home and I don't want to tell my mom because my mom's going to whip my ass. It's like, Valentina, I am your best friend. Me and dad are your best friends, and we're going to be there through thick and thin. If you get in trouble, when you get in trouble, when you do something bad, we're going to be there for you. Not like, I don't want to go home or I don't want to do it because my mom's going to hit me.
But it's not that we're going to fix everything either. The consequences will be yours. We'll be here and we'll be with you. And if that means we got to go to court with you, we're going to go. We're not going to pave the path, because your actions are your consequences.
Right. Yes. Back to what she said, she used the words friends. Like, we're your friends. And that's another thing where a lot of parents confuse the friendship, right? What's your take on that? Like, where they'll consider their child's friends
best friends?
Yeah.
I think during the parenting life cycle, there's different things. At the beginning, we are 100% the protector, because if they're not going to make it one day without our protection, you know, so we're the protector, we're the leader, we're the guide, we're the coach. But if we want to be their best friend, they can get best friends over at school and out at the club. They don't need us to be that kind of best friend. They need us to be a leader. They need us to still be the parent at all times. And so, like, you're my best friend and I love you forever. They need to know that all the time. But if we go into the mode where we end up with what I call role reversal, if like some parents get in a situation where they're telling their child things about the other parent, then you just made them into a comadre, a compadre. It's like, you're my bro, and I'm going to tell you what your mom did. No, you're not building. Children need to be at their own level. They're not in a triangle with you in an equal relationship. So one of the things to keep in mind is they don't need to know adult stuff, and they don't need to be pulled into adult situations. You're still going to be the parent. You're still going to be the guide. And when parents are going through a rough time, sometimes they'll confide too much in their child.
Yeah.
And, you got to find a peer to connect with, because your child is not your peer. Mm-hmm. As your children grow, at some point you move from protector to teacher to guide to mentor, and then you come on a different playing field, right?
That is
like looking
so
at yourselves now as adults, you see your parents in a different way. But I bet you when you have a worry, when you have a hurt, that's the first person you're going to call, right?
Yeah.
We're going to go to them because of that foundation. And if the foundation had a chankla and a belt and a switch, it's still your foundation. And that's the thing that I say, our parents were doing the best they could with information and resources they had, but we have the responsibility to ourselves to grow and develop.
Trust me, they had the resources. Funny story real quick. So growing up, obviously they can't get what did we say earlier? They can't
hold charges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just want to put that on the record, but probably like, I don't know, I was probably like what, 9, 8, around that age. And well, yeah, I mean, I don't know what my mom hit me for, but anyways, long story short, I had a bruise on my arm, right? And I went to school, and the teacher saw, or I guess I raised my hand and she saw. And so right away they sent me to the nurse's office, right? And I'm at the nurse's office and they're like, "Okay, Randy, are you being abused at home?" I'm like, "Nah, hell no." Like, "No? What happened? Please tell us what happened." Like, "Oh, I fell off my bike, shit, And they're like, "Okay, we'll be back." And then an hour later, a police officer came, and same thing. "Are you being abused?" I was like, "No, I'm not being abused, dude. Like, I fell off my bike, But my point is, like, there was code, there was, even though, like, yeah, my mom, she disciplined us, but it wasn't like I was gonna go rat on my mom, like, yeah, well, shit, yeah, my mom fucking whoops my ass all the time, But I just felt like, even though, like, I didn't enjoy it, right? But I knew I was getting disciplined because I probably did something wrong, right? But it wasn't like I hated my mom for that, And so, yeah, long story short, they got, CPS involved and all that stuff. But I never said, like, yeah, my mom physically beats me up, We got, like, they had parenting classes. We had, like, field trips. I remember we went to Warner Brothers Studios. We went to Disneyland, and when they were making Toy Story, so we got to see the animation. So it's pretty cool. Like, at the end of the day, we got like cool trips, and I was on the news too. Like, oh, these are abused child, going on the future, and I was like, yeah. but yeah, I mean, it was cool.
But something your mom said that was really awesome was, she said, ever since that parenting class, I never hit Randy again. And she said that she learned a lot.
Why you fucking
that's what she said. Hey, but no, you said my mom's gotten a little bit softer the older she's gotten, because with my youngest sister, they've never done anything. But then your mom said what she said, and I think it's true with a lot of parents, is the older they get, the more they can reflect and be like, that wasn't the best thing. Like, why did I hit my kid so much? I feel like with the first one, you're realizing, you're learning how to parent, and then you learn from the first one to the second one to the third one, and you always realize, like, beating my kid is not always better yourself. Yeah, it's not always the best.
That's true, because like my youngest sister, the fourth one, like, she never got whooped. But then again, that's why she is the way she is, because I feel like if she would have got that whooping.
But do you think she is the way she is because he likes to say she's like a wild child?
Well, the reality is we raise children differently. The birth order definitely has something to do with it. The expectations we have of the oldest and the youngest are quite different.
How sad.
They're quite different. We could do a whole thing on birth order, but one of the realities is that a lot of times as a parent, you don't see your child as another human being. They're an extension of you. And so when they are upsetting, it's like you messed up. And so sometimes that anger comes out, or that, it's like, well, I gotta straighten them out. I gotta straighten them out. And there's other ways to help them learn besides hitting. What I'm concerned about is like some of the things that you're describing in your childhood, they're not the level that child abuse is today. We were not seeing parents, when y'all were kids, actually children losing their life to the hands of somebody who supposedly loved and cared for them. That is like, there's different layers of child abuse. And when we look at, what we're trying to do is we want to build our children's value. And one way to do that is the way we treat them. Yeah. So again, I'm always saying like our parents were doing the best they can. And when I say resources, understanding. If your mom had a light bulb turn on, during that class or whatever, it made her look at things a different way. We will study anything and everything. Right. I mean, I was telling Myra, we'll watch like tons of videos on how to do eyeliner. But like parenting, well, I don't go to parenting. Like parenting, that's for bad parents.
It's so true because a lot of, people gave a shit about that. Like, oh, ¿pa qué van a ir a esas clases? And it's like, because I always say this, and I have no problem saying this, we're all ignorant because we don't know everything. And if we knew everything, we'd be a wizard. We would be something else, So just because the resources are there and you feel like whatever happens in this house stays in the house, or I don't need fucking help. I don't need marital solutions. I don't need parenting classes. It's like, no, you do, because we don't know it all. And the thing is, if we knew it all, we would be the best damn fucking parent from day one, and we're not,
No, and if we're lifelong learners, we want to learn about what is important to us. If you love woodworking, you're watching all these shows on how to do that. If you love cooking, you're watching all these shows. If you love to barbecue, you're watching those barbecue grill throwdowns. If you love your child, wow. What about investing in understanding your child, making a connection, connecting with other parents? What's more, we say our children are the most important thing. So wouldn't that be a good thing to study and look into and look at our thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors?
Yes, I agree. And I'm really thankful for this class that we took with you, because I learned a lot and I'm still learning. I can't wait to take another one. And it's so awesome, the fact that, your parent teacher classes are available year round and they're always there. And honestly, I'm gonna say this, like, if you live in San Antonio and you have the opportunity, whether you're a dad or a mom, or you want to do it together, something cohesively, do it, because it's the best. I think it's the best investment we've done as parents today. And we always talk about it, how much we learned. And we're like enriching those around us, because this opportunity we have to talk about it, we let them know, well, this is what we like, oh shit, we didn't think about that. Even like the simplest little thing, how you said, like, there's been a lot of times where kids get taken to court because they were molested. But if they say like, oh, my cookie was touched, they'll get dismissed, because what is a freaking cookie? You have to learn, children have to learn that there's a proper word for every private area, and they have to recognize that. So it's just like the simplest little things that we can apply. And I really loved your class, Miss Kathy, and I feel like we know we're blessed to have you in our lives, because you are just filled with knowledge. You're literally a walking brain. You are.
Life experience and talking with people. And really, to me, the biggest thing is hearing people's stories and seeing what legacy people are bringing from their childhood, what areas they want to carry forward that have value, and what areas they're ready to learn new things.
Yeah. And I would really love to do a part 2, if you'd be okay with that, because I feel like there's still so much more ground that needs to be covered. Because something I would really want to talk to you about is about children being gay, accepting your child being gay, how to, like the extremes, right? Like, why did it get to that extreme? Why are you having to flip kids' beds for them to get up? Or, all these, like, the extremes. You really get into detail about the disciplining, right? The messages that you're sending. I mean, there's just so much more. And if our million subscribers want to maybe have Miss Kathy tap on a topic, go ahead. It would be awesome, once again, if you would comment below and let us know, or send me a DM at Myra Teresa and let me know, like, oh, I would really want to ask Miss Kathy about this, because they could even talk about a specific experience they went through growing up and how they feel that's who they are. Or maybe, how you say, like, yeah, genetically, there's a lot of times parents say, well, it's because I am, or an adult, I am like this because my parents were like that, or my parents raised me like that. It's like, but you have a fucking choice.
Yes, you do.
Like, don't victimize yourself because of your childhood. So there's so much more we can really talk into. And we would really love to have you again if you would love to be on here with us.
Well, I would love that. And I would love to, hear from y'all. We're at Parents Academy. You can find us on social media under Parents Academy SA for San Antonio, not like SA.
And I was thinking also for all of my ladies, comadres, even compadres, if they would maybe want us to do something together, like physically at BSA, maybe have something like this live, right? Where they could actually ask us questions. We can set something up, even if they have kids, maybe a daycare while we do a class.
What about me?
Yes, you would be involved too. That's what I'm saying, because we always need a male perspective.
El Randy.
El Randy.
Security.
No, yes. Let us know. Everyone, please comment below. Let us know. We are here for you. Miss Kathy is here for all of us as well. She's freaking awesome. And trust me, she will enrich your life because you've enriched our lives a lot.
Thank you so much. I loved having you on the group and having you around the community and just letting other parents know, you're not alone.
Yes.
There's people who care about what you're going through, and it just becomes like a little quality time. The biggest thing I think we're lacking as parents is any self-care.
Yes.
Any time for yourself. When people come to our workshops, we have dinner for you. It's a nice hot meal. You get to eat. Someone is playing with your kids so you can connect and get enriched and build a community. That's what we're all about.
But for real, who's your favorite parents?
I have so many awesome families.
Off the chart.
So many awesome families. The ones I'm sitting with right now are like super, super awesome.
They're up there.
Yes, so thank you everyone for chiming in to Parejeando episode 8. We hope you enjoyed Miss Kathy, because I know we enjoyed her presence, her presencia.
Yeah, and maybe we can start a new trend. Like you were saying, like for woodworkers, you go for woodworking. For cooking, you go for cooking videos. Now for parenting, you can come to us.
There we go.
And maybe have even like, monthly or by week, I don't know, something, but always have you here because you are freaking awesome.
Well, and everyone can't get to an in-person workshop, and we can get enrichment. Like you were saying, a quote changed your direction. Something we see or hear can put us on a new path. And so, any way that we can connect to help families, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Remember to like, to comment, to share,
and subscribe.
And subscribe. Yes, subscribe to our...
And to use a Nike chankla. No, I'm just kidding.
No, don't do that. But yes, thank you for the love and support. Was Parejeando. That's a wrap. And thank you so much, Miss Kathy.
Thank you, Miss Kathy.
It was a blessing having you.
It was an honor to be a guest.
Yes.
Thank you. Any canción?
Yeah. Let me do the outro, and
It better not be... Oh my God.
This is a mature adult conversation, so we gotta have adult
Where's
music.
the cumbias, Randy?
I know.
Oh, Miss Kelly wanted cumbias. Next episode.
Bye. Thank you.